Australia-wide job vacancies dropped by a staggering, we all got to know it's a horrible figure, 43% in the 3 months up to May. The figures are now out. The job market is, of course, now extremely competitive. And it may be worse. It may just get worse. And someone who may be able to help is on the line, certainly with something positive. Jonathon Woolfrey is Human Resources Expert and WA President of the Australian HR Institute. And he joins me now. Hello, Jonathon, I should say.
No problem. Hello, Andrew. Nice to be with you.
I'm pleased to be with you, and we both have jobs as such. But a lot of people are just going to struggle to get back into the workforce, aren't they?
Yeah, it's a real struggle at the moment. There's many problems going on at the moment, but two of the biggest things, a lot of people are losing jobs, and there's just not any jobs to replace them with. As you mentioned, 43% drop in the last 3 months. So it is a very difficult time, that's for sure.
In my day, when I was starting out to work, you're the employment officer at a company, but now you're human resources. It's, I suppose, just a terminology change, and that's what your specialty is. And I think you've got advice for people who are trying to get, or going to very soon have to try to get back into the workforce. Where does it start, James? What's the first thing people should think about to try and get a job?
Look, I think the first thing is it's to acknowledge it's really difficult at the moment and not to lose heart. So in the numbers that I've been seeing in job processes I've been involved in, you could be in the top 1 or 2% of applicants and still not get that job. It's that competitive. So first of all, don't lose heart, and then don't lose that effort that you put into your application. You know, you have to, more so than ever, get as much right as you can with that application. So look, if possible, ring up the person and introduce yourself. Don't just be a name on a page that comes in their inbox, etc. So ring up, get to know the person, know the company, use their words in the application that you put in. And look, I have to acknowledge that this is really difficult because you might be applying for tens, if not hundreds of jobs, and it's very difficult and time-consuming to do this. But really put in the effort to get to know the company, because it's when it's super competitive, they want people that want to work there. It's probably less dependent on skills at the moment, because a lot of people are coming through with top-notch skills, overqualified for jobs. It's people that show that keenness and that commitment for that company, that organisation, and really connect personally is probably an initial focus.
Yes, very important. Yeah. Jonathon, also, should people, if they're still unemployed at the moment, perhaps take advantage, in a sense, of this time of unemployment to do a course that might lift their qualifications just a little bit? Say, like a 2 or 3 month course in something that might just help them?
Yeah, absolutely. If we take a longer-term view, look, I've heard out of New Zealand today, which have had restrictions, fortunately, dropped a bit over there, and 133% increase in job vacancies over there. So it could turn quickly. So what you want to do is put yourself in the best position. If not today, it's very tough, but as soon as possible, companies will be rushing to fill jobs, rushing to get that out there as soon as they can, as soon as restrictions start to become lifted. So if you can put some more strings to your bow, do some study. There's some options available. Government's funded some tertiary studies. TAFEs are half price or giving free courses and things like that. So to keep yourself busy and to keep adding strings to your bow, if you invest in some of those training and technical skills that might better place you into the future, as soon as job vacancies start coming back, then you'll be really well placed to get back into the workforce or get that job that you're looking for.
I have to ask this, like you ask the plumber how good the plumbing is in his house. What's the longest time you've ever had trying to get a job, Jonathon?
Myself personally, I remember back when I was getting my first job, I went to uni and was looking for my first job, and back then I wrote letters. Email wasn't as popular, and I remember my dad saying, you should keep these 200, 300 rejection letters, because you'll look back on those one day. And ever since there, I've gone from job to job. I haven't specifically lost one, so I've been in a very privileged position. But what happened then was I got a 2-week contract out of uni. It took me 3 or 4 months. And once I got that 2-week contract, I was there for 3 or 4 years, and then it leveraged into there. So it only takes just one opportunity for you to get in there, and we've all been there. It's hard, particularly for younger people these days, to get that first opportunity. So I have been through it and do understand the effort involved in putting in 200, 300, 400 applications to get that thing. But you just need to give yourself an opportunity and then then the doors can open up for you from there.
Should people accept non-paid work, this sort of mentoring, what do you call them? Clinton had a few of them.
Yeah, look, work experience, sometimes internships.
Thank you. That's what I was looking for.
Kinds of models like that. Look, definitely. Look, I just caveat, it's probably a bit rife to be exploited out there sometimes. A lot of people desperate to get into the workplace, and unscrupulous people could do that. So don't sell yourself too short. But again, the more opportunities you give yourself to build that personal relationship, and internships and work experience are wonderful opportunities. If I do go back a step, I did try when I was looking for my first job and wrote all those letters, I did do work experience, which really helped me get that one extra string in my bow that got me that 2-week contract that got me there. So it's definitely worth considering putting your hand up and getting some more experience if you can.
And what do you say to people who have been at it and they've done their, hundreds of emails and all that, and they've done some interning or whatever, and they still haven't got a job? What's your advice to them?
Look, if something's not working, well, first of all, it's very difficult at the moment, so don't lose heart. But people might need to look a bit outside the box. For the short term, they may need to look at jobs that they feel aren't up to the skills that they've got. They may be below them. They may be overqualified for, so they may have to take a step back. Or they might be able to look at different industries or different areas that they haven't thought of. So just take a step back, look at what's going wrong, and then look at those different industries that they may not have thought of. So, if you work in government, maybe look private, look at banks, look at different bigger employers at the moment that are still a bit sturdy, or look in other areas that they can't do that. Or, as we've talked about earlier, look at adding an extra string to your bow with another qualification, a different course that you can do, things that might get you over that hump of not being able to get those jobs.
Jonathon, we're out of time, but thank you very much for your very sound advice. Lovely to speak to you. Jonathon Woolfrey, Human Resources Expert and WA President of the Australian HR Institute.